Hey, it's Crystalline here again. So, I am all about real talk. So, if you know me, you know I'm all about real talk. Real talk. That's all. So, I'm very, very livid. Why wouldn't I be? I've been going through hell and being traumatized every single day. Every single day. So the reason why I'm talking to you guys and making videos is because it's extremely therapeutic to talk about hell, trauma, and bullshit. I also write a lot, and it helps with trauma and bullshit, okay? It's therapeutic. So, here's some real talk from the past couple of days. First one, I'll start off by saying that Jesus Christ spoke truth and stood up for truth. He also, when he was like 12 years old, was talking to lawyers and doctors and one-upping the doctors and lawyers. And what's funny is how Christians and Mormons praise lawyers and doctors all the time and government, but yet Jesus Christ didn't even like, they talked about corruption in the Bible, Doctrine and Covenants, and the Book of Mormon nonstop. It's corrupt. But yet Christians and Mormons worship the government and pills and doctors and labels. Okay? Jesus Christ stood up for truth and spoke truth no matter the consequence. He was murdered because he spoke truth. Okay? He was murdered. People didn't care that he was healing the sick, the afflicted, casting out devils, speaking the truth that leads to freedom. People didn't even care and walked all over that. They didn't give a shit that Jesus Christ was speaking the truth, healing the sick, healing the afflicted, and casting out devils, and speaking for truth that leads to freedom for anyone. No matter the consequence, Jesus Christ stood for truth. He spoke truth. Jesus Christ was bold, and it led him to his death. Okay? I want you guys to always remember that. The other issue is I found a flyer on the ground this morning. She's the current mayor, Maylee Wilson. I don't know if you can see that or not on here. But it says, I will continue to solve problems and see improvement through completion. I will always listen, understand, and address issues of concern. She wrote, I will always look out for Cedar City, speak up for Cedar City, and stand up for Cedar City. Oh, that's funny because she has not stood up for me and my son. I've met with her many times. And one of her projects, a lot of them is like wastewater and water management and prairie dog removal and, Parks and Rec and transparency in government. Well, that's funny, transparency in government. She's not stood up for me and my son. I said, hold the police accountable. Hold them accountable. They had zero probable cause to arrest me and take my son. My arrests, falsely accused, led to the taking, kidnapping of my son. Okay? The abduction of my son. The holding hostage of my son. And she's done nothing about it. Nothing. And I've met with her many, many, many times. I'm going to confront her again and say, look, I just found this on the ground. It says this and this. And so what are you going to do about me and my son? I am going to confront her again. In a few minutes, I am going to. I am. Because that's what this bitch is all about. So here's another issue. I went to church yesterday. The teacher, stood up in front of class, was showing pictures of a baby that was adopted from a mother that's not allowed to have children. They keep taking their children away, not letting her raise her own children. I said, who is they? Are you talking about the government? And then she looks around at other women and they say, oh, division of children or whatever. I said, you mean the government? The government. Thanks for clarification, I said. Then I said, a few minutes later in class, how come they're not helping these women? You're not helping, these churches you women are not helping women get into recovery. It's like, they're literally going to sit back and pretend it's acceptable, okay, that women are forced to give their children up for adoption and not raise their own damn children. I don't give a shit if you're a drug addict or not. And clearly, most likely that girl was a drug addict whom her family member was adopting from. Okay? Most likely the girl was a drug addict, possibly, because there's a high probability with DFS cases that usually, except for my case, usually they're drug addicts. Okay? And guarantee you, they forced that woman, not just her choice, they forced that woman to give up her children. Over and over and over again. 3 children. At least 3 children. Okay? To the government. But this other woman's claiming that her family members, are raising the children for this one lady, right? Well, I said, why aren't we helping women get sober then? Well, then there was a woman that said, well, addicts need to choose recovery. I can't stand that statement. I can't stand it. Rehab should be mandatory, and I've known this for years. Rehab should be mandatory. I said, if a man stabs another man, he's forced to go to prison. Forced. He does not have any option. They throw him in fucking prison. But you're going to tell me, this is what I said, but you're going to tell me you can't force somebody into recovery, into a rehab? It's fucking bullshit. I said, we need to change the laws in America. It's like, how come I'm the only one that thinks for myself? In my head, I'm thinking that all the time. How come I'm the only one who thinks, and critically thinks for myself? How come nobody else can stand up and say, hey, we need to change the damn laws? What the fuck is going on? This is disgusting. This is despicable. And by the way, God and Jesus Christ and the scriptures, Bible, Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, say, heal the sick, help the sick and the afflicted, and cast out devils. Yeah, I read that all the time in my scriptures. But are Christians and Mormons doing that? No, they're not. No, they're not. God is not happy. And I was writing about this last week. I said, God is not happy at Christians and Mormons. They are not actually doing their duties. No, they're not. They're supposed to be helping the sick and the afflicted, casting out devils, healing the sick. That includes alcoholics and drug addicts. That includes survivors of domestic violence. That includes single mothers. Okay, this is bullshit. Letting the government walk all over women, mothers, and fathers who are innocent, and I don't give a shit if they're alcoholics or drug addicts. Yes, rehab should be mandatory. Yes, they should get the help that they need to raise their own fucking children. It's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. It makes me sick and want to vomit every single day. And I don't understand how everybody else can walk around and celebrate the 4th of July even, and party and have fun, when there are people trapped in addiction or trapped in a domestic violence situation that even when they call for help, then their fucking child gets kidnapped, like mine. Like mine, for fuck's sake. And not a single person wants to admit that the cops did something wrong. The DFS is doing something wrong by holding my fucking son hostage. And I've disproved every fucking claim. Back in November and back in February. Months ago. And not a fucking person is going to stand up for my rights and my son's rights. Or how about a drug addict's rights? And alcoholic's rights. To fucking get help that they deserve and that they need. To end up raising their own damn children. This society enables addictions and does not help them. In a real world, rehab would be mandatory, just like prison mandatory for a man that stabs another man, or a man that stabs a woman. Okay? I had a cousin that was stabbed and killed. Okay, well that man's in prison. But you're telling me we can't throw addicts who self-harm? They're harming themselves. We can't put them in mandatory hospital, aka rehab, to detox properly, and then to go to classes every single day? To get help that they need, that they deserve. But instead you're going to force them to adopt their children now? It makes me fucking sick. Those children deserve their own fucking mother and father. after they've been in a hospital or rehab for a while. But they fucking deserve to be raised by their own fucking family, by their own fucking mother and father. I'm so fucking fed up. It's disgusting what goes on in this society. And you people out there, sober Christians, are going to pretend that you're doing a good job. No, you're not. No, you're not. People need to fucking repent of their apathy, their hate, their discrimination, them lying to themselves and other people about drug addicts and alcoholics and not helping them, refusing to help them. And single mothers. And people that are domestic violence survivors. I am sick. Very, very sick. That people can literally mock them or lie about them, pretend that we can't throw them in a hospital. But yeah, prisons, mandatory for anybody that stabs somebody. Come on, wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. And like I said, Jesus Christ was a truth speaker till the day he died. He died speaking the truth. He got murdered for speaking the truth. So did many other people called martyrs. Okay, many people died speaking and preaching the truth. And if it leads to my fucking murder, then so be it. I will fucking murder and my blood will be spilt. Speaking up, advocating for domestic violence survivors, single mothers, innocent single mothers, innocent people, alcoholics and drug addicts, that people refuse to help, that they lie about, that they mock, that they enable, but they don't help. I'm sick of it. People should be going to NA and AA to understand what's going on and to be sponsors and help these people. People should be reading books and watching videos on addictions. There is a science behind the chemicals, toxic chemicals, that they inject that controls their mind and body. And yet you're going to tell me it's a choice to give up their children. No, it's not. They've been forced by the government. And by the way, heroin and meth addicts, they started by pills. When they were children, they were forced to take pills because of ADHD and stuff like that. They were labeled as crazy, mentally ill. Okay? Just because their fucking parents or teachers couldn't fucking handle them. Okay? Other people around them couldn't handle them. So they were labeled as a nut job. Crazy, whatever. Too hyper. Hyper. And so we're gonna fucking make you take a pill full of chemicals. Okay, prescription pills are chemicals. Antidepressants are chemicals that lead people to get on heroin and meth. It's a fucking fact. Get inside any NA group and you will hear this fact. I have been hearing it for years. It is a fact that those addicts started out on prescription pills that their parents forced them to fucking swallow those chemicals. And it disgusts me. Because the truth is not spoken very much. It's not. Because people refuse the truth. I went to church yesterday. Here's another thing. They cast me out. They said, you don't have a right to be here. The bishop said I don't have the right to be there. The right to be there? But other people do, lying their asses off and speaking misinformation. The moment I clarify the correct information on the behalf of addicts and addiction, they literally threw me out of class. Said, you don't have the right to be here. I said, excuse me? Yes, I do. What are you talking about? Many women came up and surrounded me and stood in front of the bishop, by the way, to prove that I mattered. That I fucking mattered. And that some of my words were some fucking truth, that my boldness and my truth, that it fucking mattered. Some women really thought it was amazing and came up to me and stood in front of the bishop. And then they took a walk with me outside. So some women showed their power, showed their passion, but in a different way than I did. I just wish that more women could speak up and use their voices for power, not just their bodies. But I was still grateful that their bodies showed their passion. But I would like to see people's passion in their voice. Okay, if you can speak and hear, there's no reason, and walk, then there's no reason why you can't be using your voice to stand up for what's right and for what's true. And to stand up for justice. And to change the laws. And to spread truth stories and factual stories about the government, about Christianity. Yeah, the Book of Mormon is the most violent book in this world that people are reading every single day, week, month, and year. The Book of Mormon is one of the most violent books about stabbings. A lot of stabbings are in the Book of Mormon. And I have family and friends that read the book every day, week, or month, or year, the Book of Mormon. And yet it's the most violent book about stabbing after stabbing after stabbing. Murder after murder after murder. But yet people treat me like garbage and walk all over me and treat me like I'm a murderer and don't even help me and my son. Okay? Because of their apathy, their hate, their discrimination. And it's disgusting. And also because of misinformation, because of myths and beliefs, people refuse to seek the truth. Same with the whole drug addict thing, where they get their children taken and people are going to pretend they just give up their child so willingly. No, it was not so willingly. They were forced by the fucking government called DFS to give up, and the police to give up their fucking child. It wasn't willingly. Fuck you all. You guys are disgusting. To be so fucking brainwashed. To pretend that people give up their child willingly. Not in every single case. No. Not in every single case do people, birth mothers, give up their child willingly. Not in every single case. Sometimes they're fucking forced to give up their children. And people are going to pretend that it was a fucking choice. No, it was not. Not in every single case. They are forced by friends, family, strangers, cops, DFS to give up their children. No, every woman does not want to give up her child. It's her goddamn child. But people are going to pretend and sit back. It's fucking disgusting. That people, 100 and 200 years ago, there were women that actually fought for a cause. I don't see that in today's world. They'll only fight for gay rights. They only fight for abortion rights. But no women is standing up for children of drug addicts and alcoholics. They're not.